Hi everyone, welcome to the Ravit Show. We are here at DataDriven 2026 and look who I have with me here, Manish Sood, the founder and CEO of Reltio. Manish, welcome back to the Ravit Show. Exactly a year back, we spoke about so many different things, data unification, a lot of announcements that you all had made. So excited to have you back.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, Manish, I know there was big news that I've been, also talking about to our audience before coming to, the data-driven conference is about the amazing 185 million ARR that you all have crossed. I'm kind of curious to know a little bit about that as well. How did this happen? And there's obviously a long story which kind of goes years back, but kind of wanting to know a little bit about that as well, just from the horse's mouth himself. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into what were the announcements you had made at Data Driven yesterday, and customers, and much more.
Yeah, we have been experiencing a tremendous growth in our customer base, and last year when the whole agentic AI came up on the horizon, especially with the introduction of the MCP capabilities from
Yes.
Anthropic, that opened up a lot of interest in terms of not just the AI reinvention that every company is thinking about, and
Yeah.
especially in the enterprise, agentic AI is that unlock, but the type of data that they need to inform those decisions.
Yep.
And that combination of data and AI is now really coming to fruition, and we are seeing that interest from the customers, how they want to reimagine their enterprises, how they want to think about the business processes and
Yep.
applications in a very different, autonomous and agentic manner.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see that we are a key part of that reinvention
Yeah.
with them.
I love it. Definitely a massive growth that we've seen in the last 1 year, and that is one another question that I wanted to, ask you about. What has changed? Because we spoke about so many different things last year, and I obviously wanted to talk a lot about what has happened this year as well. But let's start with the announcements that were made yesterday at the keynote. So tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about that, and then we'll get into different
Yeah,
parts.
so for us, it's the combination of data and AI.
Right.
And when we think about what the enterprises need to do and how they need to solve for the problems that they are facing, the capabilities for them to be able to leverage the data that they manage inside Reltio, everything that they unify from their siloed landscape,
Yep.
how do they plug it into that agentic AI
Yeah.
in the enterprise?
Yep.
We ourselves created and rolled out some of the capabilities that make it seamless for them. And it's large language models coming from outside, but how do you plug it in and hydrate it with the information that's inside the enterprise?
Right.
That's the work that we have been doing, and we launched AgentFlow as a capability, but even inside AgentFlow, that's helping us expand the type of data that we can bring in. It's not just structured information
Yep.
that can be collected from the various sources, but also unstructured data.
So true. Yeah.
Adding that as a pipeline so that all of that can be brought together into this intelligent data graph capability that we have, which is at the core of our product capabilities.
Yep.
Because that is the way in which we organize the information.
Right.
That creates a very easy to consume method for our customers, because this data is already organized, it's in a graph orientation, it's already labeled, there is no text to SQL conversion that
Yeah.
they have to do, it's
Yeah.
already tagged with the metadata that they need to understand. It's ready for consumption, and they're plugging it directly in that line of business type of operations.
Yep.
And starting to use it. They're also making sure that this is an ability that gives them the capacity to move at a faster rate and pace. Think about business operations. You haven't met a company, I haven't met a company that wants to move slower by injecting AI into their processes. Everybody wants to move faster.
Faster.
And in order to move faster, you have to think about your decisioning capabilities to be in millisecond orientation. And that's what we are able to service.
Yeah.
The real-time operational speed at which data can be consumed and used for decisioning in these autonomous workflows.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it because one of the most important topics of our discussion with enterprise leaders is the same, which is where, Ravit, first things first, we want to get the data foundation sorted. once the data foundation is sorted, we want to make sure where our agents are working and are deployed correctly. But that deployment should also, tell us about the ROI,
Yeah.
and the business outcome should be, something that we can trust on. And if we can have that trust on our agents who are actually talking to other agents and the work is getting done, nothing better than that. So the
Yeah.
speed matters a lot here.
Well, not only does the speed matter, you're right about the business ROI that has to be tied to it, but
Right.
when you build these foundational capabilities, the foundational capabilities become the unlock for how fast you can roll up and add more business use cases.
Right, right.
Instead of creating every business use case as a separate application scenario that you have to go top to bottom, create a new stack for it, you're thinking about foundational capabilities built on a data first architecture. And that's the foundational unlock that you're creating, that by taking this approach, the data that matters most for your business, you're bringing that together from multiple silos.
100%.
And then you're starting to create the new business processes directly on top of it at a rapid pace.
Yeah, right. I love it. Talking about, obviously the deployments, the pace, what are you hearing from enterprise leaders when it comes to the announcements around AgentFlow? What are they excited about? And what would be the roadmap for them in the next 2 to 3 months? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really exciting for the customers because they have had a long backlog of things where there was an inordinate amount of human effort and toil that used to go into those processes.
Yep.
And now they're excited about the fact that they can turn on each one of those use cases and move at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
Think about the backlog of items that you have to handle from a data governance and data curation standpoint. Instead of millions of tasks that they were trying to farm out to their businesses or line of business operating people, now they're able to do that with some of the agentic assistance and agentic help and even the agentic autonomous decisioning. And
Right.
it takes care of that data curation life cycle. The data governance life cycle, it will flag anomalies only when you need human intervention. Not everything has to go to the human in the loop.
So true.
So
Yeah.
those types of things are becoming easier, faster, and cheaper for them to handle at scale, and that's leading to a lot of productivity gain inside these organizations.
I love it. It also kind of points me towards a direction where an engineer doesn't have to be awake at 3 a.m. to fix something, where the agents will actually fix the smaller issues and fix it on its own. And yeah, obviously having a human in the loop can be
Yeah,
great.
the same concept. It's not just limited to the software life cycle.
Right.
It also applies to the data life cycle.
Exactly.
And that entire data life cycle governance is what we are trying to simplify inside the enterprise.
Yeah, I love it. These are two important topics which in our conversations it kind of come up very often as well. Is AI is good. We want to make sure that it's being governed pretty well, and we don't have to worry about it. And then actually the third piece is like the outcome, which we spoke about, the ROI. If
Yeah.
that's also tied to it, it's a smooth machine for all the enterprise leaders out there. And I was talking to actually a lot of your customers here as well, big healthcare companies, finance companies. What I've been hearing is all excitement, because a few customers that I was kind of also talking to, looks like they've been with Reltio for since maybe 2014.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? It's been like almost 12 years, and they're like, they evolve every year. And at least I got a chance to catch up with one of the customer, and he was like, I can give you every year with how things have kind of changed at Reltio. And in the last 4 years, it has been amazingly, the growth has been phenomenal, but at the same time, the innovations has been amazing. So it just helps them to be at the forefront. And even I remember we talking about agentic last year,
Yeah.
and how you all were embedding it into the systems to make sure that it becomes easier for the enterprises as well. And looks like a lot of companies then followed.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's the great work.
And
Yeah.
we look at it as a partnership with our customers, where we are their innovation partner.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
that's why we are able to bring these capabilities to life at a rapid pace, bring it back to them, get their feedback. That
Yeah.
informs our roadmap. So it's a virtuous cycle for
So
us.
true. All right, Manish, one last question for you is about the future. How do you see the next 3 to 4 months for the enterprise world? What should the enterprise leaders be ready for? Any advice for them as well? So tell us about the roadmap, a little bit advice for the
Yeah.
enterprise leaders, and what should they be prepared for? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, in terms of the roadmap, you'll see faster innovation cycles from Reltio,
Yep.
and that's what the team is working on. That's what all of our customers and partners, they're excited about it because of
Nice.
what they have seen over the course of the last 6 to 9 months.
Nice.
And with the roadmap that we have shared with them, they're excited about more that is coming down the
For
pipe.
sure.
And all of that translates into dollar value for them because this
100%.
applies to their business operations and how they can run their business at a faster pace. So they're all excited about it. And in terms of advice for the enterprise leaders, I think one of the key things that everybody has to work on is how they're arming and rethinking their organization structure to absorb the pace at which these innovations are coming at them.
Very important.
And that's a shift, a change in thought process. They have to AI enable their organization. So what's the organization structure? What is the way in which they're going to support those people in the organization or the line of business functions inside those organizations? And how are you going to even carve out or allocate budget to those types of resources? All of that has to be thought through once again, especially to absorb the innovation cycle at the right pace.
Yeah, no, I really like that point because sometimes we now we are not in that world where there's experimentation that's happening. Everything's now proven. There are,
We are now leading into production. Right?
Exactly.
This is not just about experimentation. Yes, experimentation has to continue.
Yeah.
But now we are directly stepping into the production phase for these types of
And that will have a
capabilities.
lot of cultural shift, mindset shift that needs to
Absolutely.
happen internally as well in enterprises to make sure that they can adapt the pace, as you say.
Yeah.
That is something pretty interesting. Manish, as always, I love chatting with you, love meeting you. Obviously, been following Reltio's journey for years now, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the Ravit Show. One last question that I have for you is if folks want to follow you, which is the best place, because I know you keep your audience updated, your customers, but also the community updated with newer things. So you have a lot of knowledge in there. I follow you on LinkedIn, so I know about all of those things.
LinkedIn is the best place.
Okay,
You'll
nice.
find me there, and if you have any questions, please reach out, and would love to engage.
Thanks, Manish, for doing this, and congratulations on all the great announcements.
Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Ravan.
Appreciate
Always
it.
a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.